Good evening to one and all. Welcome you all to the Daily Indian Express newspaper analysis for the date 2nd March 2024, brought to you by Ganesh IAS Academy. Okay, let's get into today's newspaper analysis. Mentioned here are the list of articles which we are going to have the analysis in the upcoming slides. So have a look into it. Okay, let's analyze every article one by one. Change in rules. Postal ballot only for those who have been aged above 85 or more. So this is what the news is about. Recently an amendment was made in the election rules 1961 by the government, thereby raising the age of those who are eligible for the postal ballot from 80 to 85. So this is what the news is being. First we will look into the link of the news with the examination. Under prelims, the news is related to Indian polity and issues, governance, constitutions, political system, Panchayat Raj, public policy and rights issues. Similarly, under mains, it is been related with salient features of RPA Act. So this is how the news has been related with examination. Let's look into the details of the news. See, for the upcoming Lok Sabha election as well as the other state assembly election, the senior citizens, those who have been aged 85 or older than the 85, will be eligible to opt for the postal ballot. And the government has amended the rule, that is the election rule 1961, which I have said, to increase the eligibility of the age from 80 to 85. And it was amended to change the definition of the senior citizen. That is, by changing the age, the definition of the senior citizen with regards to the election has been changed. The rule enabled the postal ballot voting for a notified class of electors. Who are they? They include the essential service workers, those who are involved in the election duties, and persons with the disabilities, and the COVID-19 infected, are the suspected cases, and the senior citizen. And this senior citizen are those who have aged above 85 or more. So this is what the thing with regards to the news is about, and this is what the postal ballot is about. And these are all the eligible persons or various those who are present in the various fields who have been eligible for the postal ballot under the election rules. And in section 27A, subclause E, the senior citizen was defined as those above 80 years previously, right? But it was changed to 85 years. According to the electoral roll, out of 96.88 crore, this electoral roll has been released recently by the election commission. So where 96.88 crores electors are there in the country, and out of it nearly 1.85 crores were those were the person who have aged above 80 years. So this is what the news is about. So what are all the things which we needed to be further aware of is, we should be aware of the election commission and which are all the constitution articles or the provision that is backing the election commission. Secondly, we should also be aware of the new election commission selection process committee that has been mandated by the Supreme Court. What was the committee and who are all the members of it, and what is the legislature response for the committee. So thirdly, we should be aware of the state election commission and under which constitutional amendment this state election commission has been inserted into the constitution. So this is what the thing which we needed to be further aware of, and with this we have reached the end of this topic. A stay can't be time bound. What Supreme Court ruled and why it matters. The Supreme Court has overturned its earlier judgment of fixing a time limit of 6 months for the stay that has been made by High Court as well as the other civil courts on the trial of the cases. So this is what the thing that has been in, this is the reason why it has been in use. First we will look into the relation of the news with the examination. Under prelims, the news is related to Indian polity. Similarly, under mains, the news is related to GS paper 2 Indian polity through a subtopic called structure, organization, functioning of executive, judiciaries, ministries, department of government, pressure groups, and formal informal association and their role in the polity. So this is how the news has been related with examination. So the 3-judge bench were deciding a batch of cases which involved the Prevention of Corruption Act, which had one aspect in the common, that is the concerned High Court has granted a stay in the process of the trial, as a result of which the stay orders, even though they have been passed temporarily, it has delayed the trial for longer period of time. Why? Because see, because of the high burden, the case burden that has been faced by the High Court as well as the other civil courts which is hearing the cases. And but the stay orders are passed temporarily by the judicial or the judiciary to secure the rights of the citizen. But the grant of stay has invariably delayed the trial. Why? Because it is because if as I said, if a High Court is as to consider a challenge of an order framing the charges, means it would first stay the trial, and then it will be fixing a date where the stay will be heard. But because of increased accumulation of the pending of the cases, this High Court could not able to hear the case or the stay which it has ordered. So as a result of which the trial is getting delayed, which in turn is leading to a further accumulation of cases. So this is why this is what the thing with regard to the staying of the cases about. And in India, the three-tier system of courts, that is the Supreme Court, High Court as well as the subordinate court, a trial court's decision can be challenged at every stages. The trials are often pending for decades because of the stay. So in a judgment in Asia resurfacing with the Central Bureau of Investigation, Supreme Court held that the High Court has the jurisdiction in appropriate case to consider the challenge against the order framing charges and to stay and to grant stay. But how much power to be exercised and when the stay out to be granted needs to be considered further. So to address the problem of the undue delay in the trial, the Supreme Court held that this interim order of the stay at the level of High Court as well as the other civilian court is valid only for 6 months. After 6 months, if the cases or the stay hasn't been heard by the respective High Court or the civil court, means then the stay will be revoked. This is what a judgment given by the Supreme Court during the 2018 Asian resurfacing with versus the Central Bureau of Investigation cases. But it has an impact on the several aspects of the judicial ruling as well as the judicial working. What are the impact it has is, see, the several trials on stay virtually rose from the dead because of the 6-month expiry date. The trial court started issuing non-bailable warrant for not appearing before the court, even though the High Court, which has stayed the summon or which has stayed the trial, may not have started the argument for quashing or restarted the process once again. This added to the load of high courts and burdened the average litigant, that is the person who is socially and economically not well off, and it raised the important questions of law. First is whether the Supreme Court under Article 142 can vacate automatically the interim order of High Court of staying the proceedings of civil as well as criminal cases. Secondly, whether Supreme Court under Article 142 can direct the High Court to decide the pending cases in which the interim order of stay of proceeding has been granted on a day-to-day basis and within the fixed period, that is the 6-month time period, whether it can be given or not, or it can be directed by the Supreme Court to the High Court. This is what the questions that has been raised under the ruling. So grounds on which the 2018 ruling have been undone by the Supreme Court's recent judgment. What are all the grounds? See, the 5-judge bench held that the Constitutional Court should refrain from laying down precise timeline for deciding cases because the courts have different patterns for pending caseload, and the concerned court is best placed to decide how to offload the pending cases it has. So this is why the judgment, the Supreme Court has overturned the previous time, fixing the time limit for the staying orders. And then from the judicial side, what the High Court Bar Association of Allahabad has argued is that the vacation of stay is a judicial decision which needs application of mind without which it would be arbitrary, and automatic vacation of stay would be antithetical to this principle. So this is what the argument from the judiciary side. And from the government side, see, the central government argued that the Asian resurfacing infringes on the discretion of High Court to decide the matters of cases under Article 226 subclause 3. Similarly, the deciding timeline for particular cases is the function of legislature, not the function of judiciary. So this is for the argument from the government side. So the court also held that the bench in the Asian resurfacing doesn't have the power to set a 6-month time limit for vacating the stay orders. The automatic vacation of stay would defeat the justice by nullifying the interim order that had been lawfully passed by the judiciary, but without hearing the parties on the both sides. So without hearing the parties on the both sides, this stay could not be revoked. So this is what the judgment has been based. And then the court also agreed that it is only the legislature has the power to fix the timeline for the particular cases that has to be heard. So this is what the decision is, and this is what the basis for the decision is. And what need to be studied further is we should be aware of the courts, what are all the different types of courts in India, and what is the constitutional backup, and what is the constitutional provision that has been provided to strengthen the judicial independence in India. Secondly, we should be aware of Article 32, the provision of it. Thirdly, the separation of power. What is it, and what are all the different types of constitutional provisions being there to ensure the separation of power is happening in India. So this is what the thing with regards to this news is about, and with this we have reached the end of this session. Improvised explosive device, that is IED. So recently the Rameshwaram cafe in the Bengaluru has suffered a blast because of the IED which has been planted by certain miscreants in the society. So this is what the news is about. Let's look into the details of the news. Before that, let's look into the link of the news with the examination. Under prelims, the news is related to current events of national as well as international importance. Similarly, under mains, it has been related to linkage between development and spread of extremism, which comes under GS paper 3 under major topic called internal security. Let's look into the details of the news. Speaking on the recent blast on the Rameshwaram cafe, Karnataka CM said it is not high intensity blast but a improvised one. So what does this IED is about? IED is basically homemade bomb. According to the fact sheet of the Homeland Security of US, because they are improvised, IED can come in many forms, ranging from small pipe bomb to sophisticated device which is capable of causing massive damages. They can be deployed using vehicle, carried, placed or thrown from one place to another, and then they could be transferred from one place to another through packaging, concealed in the strategic location. This is how the various forms it could be able to take place. And while such device has been found over a century, over a period of time, the term IED first came into place when the US has invaded the Iraq. During that time only this term has got popularized. And the components of IED. So what are all the components the IED is made up of? See, each IED comprises of few basic components which can come in various forms depending upon the resource that is available to the person who is making it. And it includes initiator or the trigger mechanism, a switch which harms the explosive, a main charge which causes the explosion, a power source, since most IEDs contain an electric initiator, so that the power is important source to initiate the blast, and then container. So these are all the important constituent of it. IED may be packed with additional materials or enhancement such as nails, glasses or metal fragments, which is designed to increase the sharpness of the device, so that it could be able to increase the explosiveness of the device. And the enhancement may also include hazardous chemicals like the toxic as well as the radioactive substances. And then IED packed with the depleted uranium would cause a heavy damage, and it is called as dirty bomb. And some common material that is used to build IED includes fertilizers like ammonium nitrate, urea nitrate, gunpowder, hydrogen peroxide. Passengers are not allowed to carry the large quantity of liquid aboard aircraft because it is possible to create IEDs on site by simply mixing certain commonly found liquids. So this is what the things about. So what damage the IED could cause is, IED are not only meant to kill and injure. They are often, especially in active war zone, been used as distractors. The extent of damage that has been caused by IED depend on its size, the constituents, placements, as well as the different types of uh, substance that has been added to it, whether it is incorporated as explosive or the propellant. That is, the intention for incorporating is also is important. These are all the things which determines the explosiveness of the extent of the explosiveness of the IED. And then they come with a clear trade-off. While a smaller bomb are easier to hide, carry, deploy, they are also generally less powered than the larger ones. And some of the IED blasts that took place in India are 1993 Mumbai serial blast, 2008 Jaipur blast, and then 2013 Bodh Gaya bombings. These are all the different instances where the IEDs blast has taken place in India. So what are all the things which we needed to be further aware of is, it should be aware of NIA, ED, CBI, as well as other investigation agencies, the structure, function, and the ministry under which they have been performing. Secondly, we should be aware of the Karnataka geography. Thirdly, we should be aware of the interstate dispute mechanism. These are all the things which we needed to be further aware of. With this, we have reached the end of this topic. Manufacturing growth at 5-month high in February because of the robust demand. According to the PMI index, the manufacturing activity has grown to a 5-month high in the February because of the upstick in the demand. This is what the news is about. Let's look into the linkage of the news with the examination. Under prelims, the news is related to economic and social development, sustainable development, poverty, inclusion, demographic and social sector initiative. Similarly, under mains, it has been related with GS paper 3, Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resource, growth, development and employment. This is how the news has been related with examination. And the manufacturing sector climbed to 5-month high and a sharp uptick in the factory production and sales, which is being supported by the domestic as well as external demand. Thus, seasonally adjusted, India's PMI rose from 56.5 in Jan to 56.9 in February, pointing to strongest improvement in the health of this sector since September 23. The PMI whose value above 50 means expansion in particular sector, and if the value is below 50 means it is contraction. If it is equal to 50 means then it is neutral. So this is what the indicator is about. And a quick increase in the sales and strongest expansion in new export order has also contributed to the new rise of the manufacturing sector in the February month according to the PMI. So this is what the news is about. So let's look into the details, other aspect of the news. That is, what does the PMI index is about? It is the index which acts as the economic indicator, which is derived after monthly survey of different companies. It measures activities at the purchasing or the input stage itself, and then in this it is very different from the industrial production because it is indicative of actual production. And there are two types of PMI. One is manufacturing, another is the service based PMI. The index shows the trend both the manufacturing as well as services, and it does not capture the informal sector activity. That is the lacunae it holds. So this is what the thing is about. What are all the benefit it has? See, the index is released much before the official data of the other economic indicators like manufacturing indicators, GDP growth, as well as the index of industrial production, so on and so forth. And it enables the central bank of many countries to use this data to assess the economic activities as well as the condition of the economies, so that the decision based on it can be made. And then it will also give an indication of corporate earnings, and it will be closely watched by the investors those who are investing in the Indian economy. And then a good reading of index also enhances the attractiveness of the economy against the other economy, so that it will have the Indian economy will be having the competitive edge over the other economy. So this is what the significance the index holds. So what are all the things which we needed to be further aware of is, we should be aware of GDP, what is GDP, how it has been measured, and what is the manufacturing policy of India, industrial policy of India, and index of industrial production. So these are all the things which we needed to be further aware of. With this, we have reached the end of this topic. Let's look into today's practice prelims question. Mentioned here is the today's practice prelims question. Those students, those who are watching this session online, please do comment the option point for the question which you are seeing right now on the board. With this, we have reached the end of today's session. So do like, comment, share, as well as subscribe Ganesh IAS YouTube channel, so that you will be receiving daily current affairs session notification and weekly environmental as well as science and tech notification, and also any other important notification that will be brought to you in the future by Ganesh IAS Academy. Thank you.